Welcome to Get to the Hook. I am your co-host, Charles Latibaudiere.
And I'm your co-host, Eric Colley.
And we got to thank Huntrix, a band group.
It's a girl group.
A girl group that we've been talking about in recent weeks because of the popularity of Demon Hunters. And they have hit number one.
Right.
With their hit Golden. We've played it a couple of times. A couple times.
We're good. You all know how that song goes.
You know how it goes. But they've hit number one, which brought us to a really staggering fact. Literally, we're getting ready for the show, and Eric sent me some of his research, and I was like, that can't be right. And I actually went to the internet, and I was like, nah, he's definitely, Eric's wrong. I finally got him. I got him. He's going to be wrong about this fact. He was right.
How dare you not trust me at this point?
That it has been 24 years?
24 years.
24 years since a girl group hit number one on Billboard's Hot 100.
Last time was Destiny's Child with Bootylicious in 2001. We have had a 24-year drought of girl groups at the top
I
of the
was
chart.
a young man when that happened.
What, 45?
Yeah. Wow. Wow, I had to take the shot.
Yeah, so we are celebrating girl groups today, the history of girl groups. We got a lot to get in here.
Yes, and if you're watching us on YouTube, then you already see that we're going to be celebrating because we got props. We got props
out
in studio with us.
Vinyl.
Yeah, I love it when Eric brings in his vinyl because it's a very, very wide collection.
I don't need you judging that I have Spice Girls Greatest Hits back there. That's
I'm trying to block it for you. But yes.
Yeah, so we are going to get into girl groups, and yeah, so we're going back to World War II, and I know that sounds boring. You're like, oh, I promise you,
no,
it's a really good song.
Some great music.
Great music, but yeah, the last 24 years, before we get into the history of it, I was thinking it's not just that there hasn't been a girl group to hit number one. There haven't been a ton of big girl groups in the last 24 years. The ones I was thinking of, and shockingly, none of these got to number one. Pussycat Dolls got to number two with their song Don't Ya. Had a big run of hits in the mid-2000s. Never got to number one. They were probably maybe arguably the biggest girl group.
Closest. Buttons didn't get to number one, huh?
Buttons did not get to number one. Danity Kane was big in those years. Dream, Haim, the alt sister pop rock duo. Blackpink, Fifth Harmony, who we have now mentioned 3 weeks in a row. And I promise, even if we do groups with numbers in their name next week, we are not.
We're not mentioning Fifth Harmony.
No shade, no hate. Just randomly, they have come up 3 weeks in a row. K-pop groups are where the girl groups are now. That's how K-pop Demon Hunters has produced one. Blackpink is a huge girl group, Les Seraphim. And the group Twice, who are on the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack. So this is one of the songs they've included on that soundtrack. It came out late last year, but it's getting a big push right now. This is their song, Strategy. That's so catchy. Why don't we have more of that?
Just catchy, yeah. But you know what? Maybe this has sort of opened the door now that people are going to be interested. And I think you're right. The popularity of K-pop has definitely opened the door for this to happen more often.
And honestly,
in coming years,
with male groups too. We just don't see a lot of groups, period, anymore. It's mostly solo artists and has been for a long time. Maybe because even if you're a singer, it's cheaper just to multi-track your own voice.
True.
But there's just nothing like a group of people singing together. And when we say girl group also, the first thing I think you probably think of is vocal groups, pop and R&B and dance.
Right.
We are going to cover rock, country, rap, metal. There's so many every genre has girl groups. And there are some really, really great ones. One of the first big girl groups, jumping back to the 1930s here, the Boswell Sisters. And a lot of these we're going to see also are
boy, do I remember
sister
that.
acts. Was that your high school? The Boswell Sisters.
They played my prom, yeah.
Were big, and they were big during the Depression and into the 30s. They broke up in 1936, and Sister Connie Boswell went solo, did some songs with Bing Crosby. That's another thread we're going to see throughout today is one of the singers going solo.
Right.
A lot of solo careers came out of these. But the biggest girl group of the first half of the 20th century was undoubtedly the Andrews Sisters. Sisters Patty, Maxine, and Laverne. They were massive through World War II. 80 million records sold worldwide. I mean, just to give
Were there 80 million people?
Well, that tells you how many people were buying the records over and over. Yeah, that's a staggering amount. They were so popular. People now maybe don't know them, but they were absolutely massive. And their harmonies, the way they stacked and did their harmonies together was so unique. You still hear it today. Christina Aguilera has used it.
Yeah.
Leve, the Icelandic star, has emulated their vocal stylings. And the songs are great. This song is so catchy from 1945. This is Rum and Coca-Cola.
Drinking rum and Coca-Cola, go down Point Cumana, both mother and daughter.
Also, one of the first calypso-sounding songs to hit
Yeah.
America. The Andrews
I
sisters.
dig it. I didn't know
were
that
great.
one from
Yeah.
the Andrews Sisters.
That's a super catchy song. Patty Andrews went solo. Like,
Because there's always a producer whispering in their ear, you know what, you don't really need the other
you
two.
don't need the other girls. You don't need
You're
them.
the star.
And sometimes it's true.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes
It has
it's
worked
true.
out that way, but sometimes it doesn't.
Right. And the Andrews sisters also worked with Bing Crosby a lot. He worked with everybody back then. They were huge for a long time. Then by the 50s, post-World War II, the Andrews sisters just kind of fizzled out a little bit, as happens.
Right.
And in the 50s,
Everyone has their run.
you didn't see as many girl groups in the 50s. There were a few. There was an act called the Lennon Sisters. There was the McGuire Sisters, had some songs called Sincerely and Sugar Time that maybe your grandparents, great-grandparents were fans of that song back in the day. But the early 60s is when you really hit
Oh, yeah.
what we think of as girl groups. And there was a boom between like 1961 and 1964 when the Beatles hit. I mean, that might be the greatest era of girl groups. I'm going to list some names. A lot of these only had maybe one or two big hits. Almost all these songs hit
But
number
they're
one.
classics, man.
And even if you don't know the artist name, you will know these songs. You've heard them somewhere, some way in your life. The Ronettes with Ronnie Spector, with Be My Baby, and Sleigh Ride, which goes top 10 every year now because of Christmas. The Crystals, He's a Rebel. The Dixie Cups, Chapel of Love. The Angels, My Boyfriend's Back. The Chiffons, He's So Fine. The Shangri-Las, Leader of the Pack. All these groups were hitting
Those
at the
are
same
all
time.
classic songs.
I mean, they're before our time, even,
but I,
we
you know
know
what?
those.
But see what just happened is you just ran through all those, and that's a partial list. I think they almost they don't get enough credit because there were so many of them.
They run
And
together
I-
to a lot of
And they
people.
kind of run together. Like, I know all those songs.
If I
Like,
named all those songs right now after just naming the artist, could you tell me which one sang which?
I couldn't tell you the artists. I could name all those songs in probably one or two notes, but I would have a hard time telling you who actually sang most of them because I confuse.
And
They'll
like I
kinda run
said,
together.
a lot of them, that song was their one big hit. But one girl group, the one I want to play a clip from, was actually the first of all those to hit number one in early 1961. It was the first girl group to hit number one, and I think it is one of the most perfect, beautiful pop songs of all time, written by a young woman named Carole King, who wound up doing all right for herself.
Did she? Yeah, I've heard that name.
And she did okay. This was the Shirelles, Will You Love Me Tomorrow? And unlike a lot of those other acts, like we said, the Shirelles actually got to number one again with the song Soldier Boy. They had Mama Told Me, Foolish Little Girl, so many great songs the Shirelles had. And yeah, so a few months after the Shirelles hit number one, the Marvelettes got to number one
The Marvelettes.
with Please Mr. Postman. And the thing that's really significant about that is the Marvelettes had the first number one on the Tamla record label.
Tamla, which was the Motown sister label.
Yeah, it was a little subsidiary of
Yeah.
Motown. So the Marvelettes had the very first number one hit on Motown. And they didn't have a huge career. They had a few other hits. Martha and the Vandellas were the Motown act that really took off with Heatwave, Quicksand,
Right.
Dancing in the Street, all those great songs, Nowhere to Run. There was another group on Motown in the early 60s, the Primettes. And you're like, who are the Primettes? I've never heard of them.
Oh, you know the Primettes.
They
Even if
changed
you
their
don't know
name.
that name.
They changed their name, and they still didn't have hits. And actually, when the Marvelettes and Martha and the Vandellas and all these groups were having their hits, they actually called the Primettes, who had changed their name to the Supremes, they called them the No-Hit Supremes. It's like, oh, the poor Supremes, they just can't catch
get a
a
hit.
break until 1964. Where Did Our Love Go? Hit became the first of 12 number one hits for the Supremes in 5 years, between 64 and 69.
That's a machine. That's a factory. It's a hit factory.
It was the hit factory. It really was. And for context, if you don't get how many 12 number ones is, two other artists, as of right now, have 12 number one hits apiece. Madonna and Taylor Swift. Taylor's probably got 13 coming up by the end of the year when her new album comes out.
Right.
But still, they didn't do it in 5 years.
And that's different. And it's a different way to hit number one now.
Sure.
Much harder back then.
Right.
Right, because
Uh,
it's just on radio airplay and sales.
and sales.
Yeah.
And so I was like, which Supreme song do we play? I want to play, honestly, just my personal favorite, which was not only their 12th and final #1 hit, it was the last #1 song of the 1960s. Hit #1 the last
Wow.
week of December
That's good.
1969. This is Someday We'll Be Together.
Say, wanna say it. Someday we'll be together. Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
The poetry, the perfect poetry of that being their final #1, because they were not ever together. again.
they were not.
Someday, I mean, it's a lie. They're not going to be
Yeah,
back together.
someday
but-
we will never be together because Diana Ross went solo. Supremes had a couple more hits after Diana left, even hit number 10.
Yeah.
But Diana Ross became Diana Ross.
that
and
was the end of that era. But man, what
Same
a-
thing we saw
what
with
a run.
Destiny's Child and Beyonce. Like, it was just inevitable. Diana Ross was going to be Diana Ross. Beyonce was going to be Beyonce. But yeah, the Supremes, Billboard ranked them in 2017 based on Hot 100 performance as the greatest girl group of all time.
I don't know how you
And culturally, the
They're-
impact they had.
culturally the impact they had, and the fact that some of the other groups that we're going to talk about, like TLC, like Destiny's Child, like they're not. You got to stand on someone's shoulders, and they're all standing on the Supreme's shoulders, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah. And yeah, the Supremes
Quite
came
a
out of
run.
that early 60s era, that boom of girl groups. But there was something different about them. There was something special about
yeah,
them.
because
And
there were certainly some
Didn't
groups
hurt that
before them, but
Diana Ross was
Look-
together with Barry Gordy, her boss. To be fair, that helped.
that you think that might have helped maybe in the promotion of some of their songs
Oh, yeah, Barry Gordy said the Supremes will
And the-
only accept #1 singles.
and the radio.
when writers submitted, he's like, if it's not #1, we don't want it.
Right, so they got the pick of the litter when it came to songs that were being cranked out.
But they had a personality and a, I don't know, there was a that star quality
Oh,
to
yeah.
them that some of the other groups didn't have. Which, like you said, you know the songs, but those artists are sort of interchangeable if you aren't really familiar with them.
Right. And I think the other impact of the Supremes, which doesn't get talked about as much, is just for society, what they helped. You know,
Superstar
They're
black
not
women.
Yeah,
during the
they're
civil
not
rights
thought
movement.
of as civil rights activists,
They were not.
and they weren't, but they certainly were very pivotal in the civil rights movement. Just that they showed white America, black people in a different light, in a very classy, incredibly talented light that wasn't always depicted back then.
No,
So-
and the music was so good; it brought kids together. If
Right.
you were a kid dancing, you didn't care if it was black or white. You just
Right.
wanted to dance and
you
have fun.
had to dance to
and-
those songs. So that's, again, not activists, but
But I mean, I don't think it's
Important.
overstating it to say they transformed American culture, American society,
oh yeah.
how we relate to each other. And you and I weren't alive before that time, so I mean, we know what the time was like before that,
Right.
but we didn't experience it. And so I think it's hard for people now who never experienced that to appreciate how much of a difference they really made in our society.
Yeah.
With really catchy pop songs.
Great songs.
And as the Supremes kind of flamed out in the early 70s, there were new girl groups waiting in the wings in the 70s.
Because it didn't die off, which is
Did not.
by the way, which
took
is
on
what
new
makes what we started this episode with so weird that I don't think there's been a 24-year gap like this before.
There never has been. There's never been this long. Going into the 70s, with R&B, and you start seeing it going in different directions. Patti LaBelle had a group called LaBelle, and they did the classic everybody knows Lady Marmalade, Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Even if you know it from
The
Christina
only French
Aguilera.
that most
and
people
Pink.
know.
It's true. They had that song. There was a group called the Honeycomb, had a song called One Ads. The 3 Degrees did When Will I See You Again, one of the most beautiful R&B songs of the 70s.
Can I tell you just a weird, just quick aside about When Will I See You Again?
Please do.
I don't know this for fact, but I have a memory, a very faded memory of being in the studio when that song was recorded.
Wait, what?
I
You would have been about 5.
yeah,
Wait, why would you have been in
I
the
was.
studio for 3
I just
degrees?
remember I was with my father and my uncle,
Oh, who's
and we
was with
somehow
Bob Marley, right?
no, not that uncle.
Oh.
Um,
How many musical uncles do you have?
no, this
God.
one he's not musical, and that's the thing. Look, both of them were big fans of music. I don't know why we would have been.
And they were on the Philadelphia International label, so Philly's not far from New York. You
And I
could have been
can't-
there.
I can't remember where it was, but I just remember being in a studio, and it was definitely a girl group. there was a
I need to know more about.
I don't know, and
Call some relatives or find
I've
out.
asked my father about it, and he doesn't really remember. He says it's kind of remember, and my uncle has passed away. I don't know, but maybe it was just another group that was sort of covering the song, and they were singing it.
Maybe.
But I was definitely in a studio where there were women behind microphones in another room, and I was in a room watching them sing.
When will I see you
I-
again?
That's
Wow.
my memory of it anyway.
I'm very curious about.
Could have been a
about
fever.
that.
Could have been a fever dream. I don't know.
Could have been. The 3 Degrees were pretty great. Sister Sledge in the 70s, keeping the sister groups going. We Are Family. He's the greatest dancer. And I think one of the greatest pop songs of the 70s. Everybody knows this song because you just know it because it never has gone away. It was number 1 for 5 weeks in 1977. It's been sampled a bajillion times. Just like 2 years ago, the song Lil Boo Thang by Paul Russell. It was entirely the rhythm track of this song. This is The Emotions' Best of My Love.
You got the best of my love. Oh, you got the best of my love.
Even Mariah Carey didn't sample it, but she did sort of her version of it. And the tip of the hat, even though it sounds a lot like it, you get the influence. She named the song Emotions.
Right.
Remember Mariah's song Emotions? Sounds an awful lot like Best of My Love.
A lot like it.
And she called it Emotions. They are the Emotions. It was more of a loving nod, an homage, I think. The 70s is also, I think, when you really start seeing, well, music in general started going all kinds of different directions. And girl groups didn't just have to be pop or R&B vocal groups anymore. You started seeing rock groups.
Yeah.
And one that a lot of people don't know, they're sort of a footnote in musical history now, but they actually were very influential on a lot of the groups that came after them. Was a group called Fanny. And they had a hit in 1971. It's this song. It's called Charity Ball.
Charity ball, ooh, stand, do charity ball.
And a lot of the girl groups we're about to talk about cited Fanny specifically as an influence on them because they saw, oh, here's 4 women who play their own instruments, who write their own songs, who sing. We could do that. And not long after this, as the punk movement hits, you had a group called the Slits, was the all-female punk group. And the 2 of those groups just opened up, I think, a lot of people's eyes to what women really could do. And also during the punk movement, you had a very young punk group that, like a lot of punk groups, hit big, burned out quickly, but launched some solo careers. As we said, there's a lot of these. The Runaways, who never hit big in America, but they made a classic song from 1976. This is Cherry Bomb.
Daddy, hello, Mom. I'm your Cherry Bomb. Hello, world. I'm your wild girl.
I love that song. And the
and
Runaways gave us Lita Ford, who did Kiss Me Deadly and Close My Eyes Forever with Ozzy Osbourne, and a woman named Joan Jett.
Of course, a woman named Joan Jett.
Again, did all right for
Still-
herself.
Yeah, doing all right.
So, yeah, the Runaways, I think, showed a lot of young women like, oh, we could pick up a guitar. We could snarl and be kind of dirty and be just like all the rock guys. And they influenced so many people that came after them. Up into like the late 90s and 2000s, there were groups called like Kitty and the Donnas. I had a friend, my friend Joey I used to work with, who listens to this podcast, actually. We used to work in local news together.
What up, Joey?
He loved Kitty and the Donnas. And I was like, this is like the Runaways. It's just catchy metal and power pop and punk and stuff. I mean, they were influencing bands 25 years later. Also, a band that was influenced by Fanny and the Runaways was the Go-Go's. And they had
I know, a lot of people-
huge influence on a lot of people. Their album Beauty and the Beat was a massive hit in 1981, 82, and produced this classic song, We Got the Beat.
We got the beat, we got the beat, we got the beat. Yeah, we got it.
But the Go-Go's didn't last long because then Belinda Carlisle went
Belinda
solo.
Carlisle went
Jane
solo.
Wiedlin, also from the Go-Go's,
Yeah.
had a hit called Rush
And-
Hour, and was in Bill and Ted's Excellent
That's
Adventure.
right.
She was Joan of Arc in that movie. But as always, as we've seen, like when the Supremes kind of fell apart, when the Andrews Sisters fell apart, when all these groups fall apart, there's another one that comes to take their place. And as the Go-Go's were kind of flaming out, the Bangles showed
Bangles,
up.
yeah.
And they were huge through the 80s. We saw Bananarama was more like dance pop.
Right.
They all came in. And then you also had the hair metal era come in. And all the guys in the hair metal era wanted to look like women, kind of. The big teased hair and all the makeup. And then there actually was a hair metal all-female group, Vixen. Remember them?
I remember Vixen.
So you had all these girl groups, but for the first half of the 80s, they were rock groups.
Yeah.
And I
It
can't
did
imagine
seem like that was the shift in the 80s that you had girl groups, but now they were bands that
Yeah.
were actually playing their music and
Yeah, the biggest probably like R&B pop girl group was the Pointer Sisters, who had been big since the 70s. And the
Yeah.
Pointer Sisters, we should do a whole episode about them sometime.
Should.
They did country, they did like swing and jazz music, they did synth pop, they did Bruce Springsteen covers, they did country,
They really-
everything.
Yeah, they it's like they weren't afraid to try any genre of music.
And they nailed all of them.
Yeah.
And that's one where Sister Bonnie's like, I'm going to go solo now. And they just went on as a trio without her, and they were even bigger. So that's one time
That it
you had
still worked out.
the lead left, and it's like, yeah, now we're good.
When did Bonnie leave?
Like 70s,
In the 70s. Okay.
because Bonnie had a solo hit in 1979, like a disco song. The Pointer Sisters, of course, went on deep into the 80s.
Hmm.
But
I
I
didn't
mean,
realize she left that early. But
I wonder, I've heard the stories from like the Go-Go's and the Bangles and all these women that the sexism they ran into, though, was insane because they said nobody could believe we actually played our instruments. Nobody believed we actually wrote our songs. I think it was the Bangles I saw in an interview where they were saying, like, we would show up to a venue and they'd be like, okay, well, where's the guys? Like,
Right.
there are no guys. And they're like, no, come on. Who's playing the guitar? It's
Right.
like, no, I am.
Oh, can you imagine the first time some A&R person went into an executive and said, hey, I got this all-girl band, and they're like, okay, but who's really playing the instrument? Like, because all the executives were men, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't believe that women could actually do this.
Like, women can't play drums. Yes, they can.
Yeah.
And they can be really good at it, too. And the Go-Go's finally got in the Rock Hall of Fame. Of course, the Supremes are. A lot of these groups, I think, deserve to be in. But
As I
the
always
men
say,
still run it.
as I always say, almost everyone's going to get in eventually.
Eventually.
But no doubt, certainly harder for some of the female acts, even girl groups or bands that were incredibly successful. I'm sure they have an uphill battle
Right.
with the Hall as well.
There's some snobbery about it, which is dumb because those songs are great. They are as good as anything any of the
At thi-
guys were doing, if
exactly.
not better.
At this point,
So,
they have the resume out there. It should
Yeah.
be pretty clear.
late 80s, we start seeing music fracturing even more as we head into the 90s and saw girl groups in all kinds of different ways. Remember Freestyle, dance music?
Yeah.
Came
Oh
out
yeah.
of Miami and South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of
those groups.
the cover girls, Seduction, Sweet Sensation,
Expose.
Expose, who was going to talk
Yeah.
about. They were the biggest of those. And I think people maybe forget Expose nowadays. They had over half a dozen top 10 songs, hit number 1 with Seasons Change. We're going to play a little bit of their first song, one of their freestyle classics. This is Come Go With Me. You were partying to that in college, weren't you?
I partied a lot to the freestyle. Freestyle. By the way,
That
those
music's great.
those freestyle shows, they still do lots of very successful tours. They're not playing
They're
stadiums
nostalgia
or
tours
anything,
now, yeah.
and they're nostalgia tours.
Stevie B.
But the fans, you know how many times I've seen Stevie B? Because he's always at
it's
these
always
festivals.
Stevie B and like Noel,
Yeah.
those guys.
Um,
and
people are very loyal to that genre of music.
the girl groups were some of the most successful. Like, I mean, the cover girls and Sweet Sensation and Seduction and all those, they were huge
Yeah.
until music shifted again. Also, late 80s, as rap started becoming bigger, obviously, Salt and Peppa. I
Clearly.
mean, technically a
Yes.
girl group.
Yep.
I don't even need to play a Salt and Peppa song. We know Push It and Shoop and What a
Right.
Man. Do you remember the other big all-female rap trio that came out at the same time or just after Salt and Peppa?
JJ Fad.
Just Jammin' Fresh and Deaf. JJ Fad
Yes,
is here to
indeed.
rock. This is Supersonic.
Supersonic. You see, the S is for super, and the U is for unique. The P is for perfection, and you know that we are.
That song is, I don't care. That song's a jam.
It
I
was
don't e- I
fun,
don't care.
man. It was
It's still fun.
And by the way, that wasn't college. It was high school.
1988?
Although it did bleed into college.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Like I said, no disrespect to Salt and Peppa not playing them. Just we all know Salt and
Right.
Peppa. I want to give
You had to give
JJ Fad their due. I don't think they get it.
You need to call back to JJ Fad every now and then.
You know what? You just do. Sometimes you just do. Going into the 90s, the first big girl group of the 90s, I think everybody thought this was going to be the template for girl groups in the 90s. And then there was kind of a stealth one that came by and overtook them and changed what people thought. Everybody remembers Wilson Phillips. Mostly they know the song Hold On. A lot of people, I think they were one-hit wonders. They had 3 number 1 hits from their debut album. Wilson Phillips was huge. But if you look at the music after them, you don't really see a ton of Wilson Phillips imitators.
No.
They were sort of a moment in time in 1990.
They had 3. I wouldn't have said that they're one-hit wonders, but damn, I didn't know they
3
had
number 1 hits,
3
another
number
top
ones.
5, couple other top 40s. They were bigger than you think they were. But not only were they not the girl group that would have the most impact in the 90s, they weren't even the girl group with a song called Hold On that would have the biggest impact in the 90s. Because for a week in the summer of 1990, Wilson Phillips's Hold On was back to back in the top 10 with a different song called Hold On by another girl group who, again, I don't think get the respect they deserve because there aren't a lot of groups like this before this group, but there were a whole lot like them after it. In Vogue, this is Hold On.
Hold on to your love. You got to hold on. Hold on to your love. Oh, baby, hold on.
I'd say something. Wilson Phillips really messes with my mind because I would not have put. I know that was En Vogue's era.
Yeah.
But I did not.
They were
They were back to back on the charts.
For 1 week, I think they were like numbers 5 and 6.
Huh.
And it's like, oh, weird, 2 songs called Hold On.
Completely different.
And again,
Totally
In Vogue
different.
could have been a one-hit wonder. It maybe seemed like that at first. And then their next album, Funky Divas, which we got up on the wall here, had My Love and You're Never Gonna Get It, Free Your Mind, Something He Can Feel, a lot of great songs. And In Vogue was, to me, like the beginning of that wave of 90s R&B. Like they
Yes.
took hip-hop production, hip-hop beats, those vocal harmonies that are insane. You know I love my 90s R&B. Just a list of some of the female girl groups that were big in the early to mid-90s. Gotta take a breath for this one. TLC, SWV, Jade, Escape, Cut Close, Moke and Steph, Brownstone, Black. Black Girl was a group. There was a group that had a song called 90s Girl. I'm a 90s girl.
No, don't know that one.
Female R&B groups in the 90s were huge. I mean, TLC, arguably one of the biggest female groups of
Certainly
all
by
time.
record sales, yes.
Yeah, SWV was huge. Jade had a ton of hits. In Vogue was sort of the start of that trend, and In Vogue predated Boyz II Men. So I think just
they did.
R&B vocal groups in general, they were the first
Gotta-
one to
gotta hand it
really
to En
cut
Vogue.
through in a big way. So yeah, all the props to In Vogue. At the same time as that is happening, of course, grunge is happening. And there was a sub-movement within grunge. Do you remember the Riot Girl movement? Spelled
Yes,
G-R-R-R-L?
Yep.
And L7 was one of the big groups of that. They had a song called Pretend We're Dead. I was trying to make a list of the Riot Girl groups, and there's a lot that popped in my head. But when you look it up, there's a weird... there's one token guy in all those groups. They were not all female groups. This is the list of 90s alt-rock groups that were 3/4 female. Hole, The Breeders, Bikini Kill, Elastica. Then you got Veruca Salt and Belly had 2 guys and 2 women in the front. They always had one random dude.
Huh.
I don't know. I was like,
Clearly was something that there were labels that were like, yeah, just you got to have a guy up there. It's cool to have.
maybe. And usually it was the drummer.
Right.
The Breeders, it was the
Where they
drummer.
felt like
Elastica, it was the drummer.
more credible somehow to have a guy in there, whatever it is. But that is an odd.
It was weird. I was like, oh yeah, these were all like female bands. Nope, there was one guy in all of those groups.
Maybe something about grunge audiences where they felt like
Maybe.
grunge audiences needed to have a guy on stage.
Or maybe it kind of showed for guys like the guy in the group's like, yeah, I'm cool being in an all-girl group. Like, this is not weird, and you shouldn't think it's weird.
Especially if we're going to get signed.
Yeah, but those groups made some great songs.
Yeah.
So you had this R&B that was huge through the 90s, male and female vocal groups, and they went away in the early 2000s, and I'm so sad about that. I miss R&B vocal groups so much. And
Music hasn't been the
grunge
same.
obviously flamed out, it burned itself out. And in the late 90s, we saw a new resurgence of girl groups, thanks to one particular girl group from the UK who were all about the girl power.
All right.
It's the Spice Girls. Okay, I'm not going to play. We're not going to play Wannabe because I'm not going to put that in your head all day. Also, it's not even my favorite Spice Girl.
How about we? Oh, we are going to play a Spice
No,
Girl song?
we're going to play a Spice Girl song.
Okay.
I'm going to play Say You'll Be There. I like this one.
All that I want from you is a promise you will be there. Say we'll be there.
That's a great pop
That's
song.
you know
I
what?
don't care.
You know what, DJ?
To
Good
Become
selection.
One.
Good
Yeah.
selection, DJ. I would say as Spice Girls songs go, I would probably. I don't.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, Wannabe, we've just heard it so
could
much.
be my
It's just
favorite
so-
Spice Girl song.
Yeah. See? Now you changed
All
your
right.
mind on the Spice Girls. Their impact, I mean, there was, that wave in the early 2000s of some girl pop groups, but it was bigger in the UK, which I guess makes sense because the Spice Girls, as big as they were in America, were so much bigger in the UK. The girl groups that were big there in the 2000s, Girls Aloud, The Sugar Babes, Atomic Kitten, Bewitched, Little Mix. Those groups ran the charts in the
Little
UK
Mix,
for
yeah.
a long time.
Uh-huh.
Most of them never really hit too big in
Yeah.
America. Some of them maybe had a hit, but also the same thing in America. That's again the sort of subtly because the Spice Girls got so much media attention, and they were huge.
They were a phenomenon, right?
but it was kind of
a multimedia
it
phenomenon.
was sort of a come and go kind of thing, honestly.
Yes.
Like, I mean, their legacy has endured somewhat. Everybody still knows them. They still like those songs, but they weren't hit makers for a long time.
No.
The other girl group that came up in the late 90s was in country. At the time, they were known as the Dixie Chicks.
Mhm.
Of course, now they are just the Chicks.
Chicks.
Some politics got involved, derailed their career a bit in the early 2000s.
Which is interesting that even the name the Chicks, which they are by now, some people would say that's not appropriate, but
Well, they were named after the song Dixie Chicken by the band Little Feat, which is why they were called the Dixie Chicks. I was like, which Dixie Chick song do I play? And I thought, I'll just go by whatever their most streamed song on Spotify is. I thought it was going to be Goodbye Earl or
Oh, no.
Landslide.
ooh, what is it?
It is this one. It's a beautiful song. This is Cowboy Take Me Away.
Cowboy, take me away. Fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue.
And
That
of
was-
course, there was also around that same time Destiny's Child. Had a couple hits.
Yeah?
And then we get to 2001, Bootylicious, the fourth and final #1 hit for Destiny's Child. And that was it until Huntrix from K-Pop Demon Hunters.
What?
What happened? I
It
don't
was
know.
such a good run. Like, we just went through all of it. It is an incredible run.
So many good songs.
And good songs.
Great artists.
Great artists, great performers. And, like, why?
I don't know. Like I said, maybe it just became, as we got deeper into like the Pro Tools era, people could just make music in their bedroom by themselves, and you don't need groups because there aren't really a lot of male groups either. As I said, if you think about it, it's maybe a producer, and
Yeah.
people can just email tracks and stems and things back and forth. You don't need to be in a room playing with people or harmonizing together. Which I get it, but and not everything has to be that. But I'm sad it's so gone away because there's nothing like the sound
Especially
of different
for a
people's voices
band.
harmonizing.
Especially for the bands. And also, but
And yeah, the band's just
harmonizing.
playing together in a room. Just
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
honestly, like looking at that Dixie Chicks, the video that we just showed, it's great. They were musicians, you know, like
yeah, they were incredible musicians, and their harmonies were also beautiful on top of
Right.
that. So maybe it's coming
where
back.
did we go wrong? Maybe it's
Maybe
coming
we'll get
back. You know what? This could be the best thing that K-pop has really brought to us.
Well, they've been
a
they've been-
resurgence of the girl group. I mean,
Well, and boy, I mean, you know, with all the
yeah, and
K-pop
also they're
groups,
done with boy
they're
bands.
about groups more than Western music is.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to inspire some people to get together and sing together and play together.
Let's
Hopefully.
hope so. Let's
need
hope
that.
so, because we cannot go another 24 years
No.
without it. That's impossible. And also, that means I probably won't be around when the next one happens. So,
sad.
you know,
That was depressing.
just saying.
Well, if you were old enough to be in the studio with the 3 degrees, you're not wrong.
I got to get to the bottom of this.
Solve that mystery.
I-
This is going to drive me crazy.
Yeah, it's been driving me crazy for, I don't know, 50 years.
Wow. All right.
That's going to do it for us. Find a girl group, a girl band, and support them.
Yeah.
That's your mission. Find some female artists to support, and we will see you next time.
Girl power.
Which Spice Girl was that?
All of them.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.